Hello and welcome, this is the Nuclear Rabbit and today I am starting in Act 2 because I kinda messed up and lost the footage of Act 1, but it wasn't that interesting. I farmed stealth and killed Andariel. So what I'm playing is a fire called Bowazon, and as you can tell we're using explosive arrow as we get beaten down by Fangskin. And this is the bow you want to make when playing a character like this. You want to just put a bunch of rail runes in a hunter's bow because it's the fastest one. And that damage will carry you easily through normal and through big parts of Nightmare as well. As you can tell by how easily Duriel just went down. Just look at that damage, it's so good. And here we have the Council who we also just kind of demolish with this weapon. And you can tell the cold arrows deal a lot less damage, but the cold damage and the freeze is really nice. Slowing Gallop Flamefinger down a lot just helps a ton. And then it's time for Mephisto. The best way to do this is just let your mercenary tank him as much as possible and just shoot at him. For our Hellforge we get an L rune, womp womp, and then it's Diablo time. So as usual, dodge the lightning. Mercenary evaporates immediately, but as long as you keep dodging and just hitting him, you should be fine. The entire game of Diablo is just, am I dealing more damage than they are dealing to me, and is my health bar not zero? Because as long as those two things are happening, you're dealing damage and your HP bar is not zero, you're winning. Might not be the fastest, but you're winning. But that's a general statement. Look at the speed at which this Bowazon is doing Diablo, it's great. After that I farmed some Eldritch for some levels and some gear and some gold. Found an M rune, which gave me access to Teartal M or Edge, which is just a fantastic bow. I also found a Hasarus belt, which doesn't matter as much as you would want it to. The attack rating doesn't help with the explosive or the cold arrow, but it does help for the physical part of the attack. So you can also use 2 bolts to craft a set of arrows. Don't know if many people know that, it's pretty obscure, but it does help at times. Meanwhile, we obliterate the ancients and just look at that puppy go. Pew 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 pew. Even Lister is no match for us. I mean, this is very impressive, the speed at which Lister and the minions are being killed. Which brings us to Bale. And you can actually see us chunking Bale, which is amazing for a normal character untwinged. Solo self-farm, whatever you want to call it. I mean, he's almost down already, just a few seconds and there he goes. After that I farmed the cow level for a halberd for my mercenary. And then I start farming some counters for some more runes. I end up finding a reflex bow for another edge with +1 to skills, which is a big part of Diablo, just getting those small upgrades. This is the most insane charm I've ever found in Nightmare, by the way. Nightmare Act 1, 15 resist all, 40 extra gold fine, that is just perfect on both rolls. Which brings me to Peace as well for the +2 Amazon skills, and with that we are very ready to fight Andariel Nightmare, who still has no fire resist whatsoever. So very easily goes down. We find an amulet with life and 2 sorts of resistances. I make a shield Iothal or a heart for some cannot be frozen and head to Duriel. With 2 tanks he still just goes down very easily. The biggest part of this run is just managing your mana and making sure something's in the way between you and your enemy. Usually your mercenary, but it can be a Valkyrie as well. And you can really tell that I'm getting used to playing like super slow, tanky, grindy builds. Because I was so amazed at how fast the Council was dying here. I was like, holy crap, this isn't taking 15 minutes, what the hell is going on? Am I doing something wrong? Is there something? Am I on the wrong difficulty? No, I'm just playing a good character for a change. It's just, oh boy, did I get used to playing some crappers in a row. So we plow on through, find some Saigon's gauntlets as well from the Council. I do have to say though, I'm a bit higher level than usual, so that helps as well. I just really enjoy this character, so I ended up just farming more, grinding more, magic finding more. And as long as our mercenary stays alive, we can go ahead and kill Mephisto. The Valkyrie triggers from the armor, by the way. I don't have skill points into it. On purpose, I knew that I would be triggering it from the armor. And if you have a low level Valkyrie and you recast it, you reset the good one from the armor and vice versa. Because the Valkyrie gets really good at level 17 because then she gets a war pike instead of a normal lance, I believe. So she starts dealing a lot more damage. We got an Rune from the River of Flame, by the way, from the Hellforge. And make our way through the Chaos Sanctuary for another Diablo fight. And even though our damage is really slowing down, this is still super reasonable. Bye mercenary, just walk out of the fire and you're gonna be fine. I mean, you're just not Dragon Force, you can't go through the fire and the flames, as Hazard just demonstrated. But basically you're trying to make Diablo take a bunch of arrows to the knee, and yeah, you can just stand there under the lightning, it won't hit you, it's safe. We make it to Act 5 where I found a white blade bow, which I upgraded to a Ral Teartal Saw. Just for damage mostly, and it's just a nice upgrade to the bow. Because this build is very mana intensive and this way you get your own aura to fix your mana. And then it's time for the Ancients. First off, just split them up. Because the worst thing to do when fighting the Ancients on hardcore is to fight all 3 at once. So just run around, split them up, make sure that you can get away from them. Although it is a 3-on-3 now, so this seems to be kind of doable. But especially if you're playing something with only a mercenary or just no summons whatsoever, just split them up, go for a 1-on-1 fight. A lot of playing Diablo is just, how do I win this fight? Can I win it like 20-on-1 when you're entering a new room? Probably not. Can you do 19-on-1? Probably not, but you can do 1-on-1. So where's the limit between that? Can you do 5-on-1? Just lure a couple away and kill them that way. Just lure away, make sure you're safe, and split it up. I mean, I know for a lot of people Diablo is just about the itemization and just plowing through everything. But a big part of Diablo 2 to me is positioning, knowing your stuff, knowing what you need to do, how you can use the environment, and then whittling through them. So for instance here, I'm against the wall, so if Bale goes and throws his gold arrow thingy, like that, you don't get knocked back, because now I'm knocked back because I'm not against the wall. So what I should be doing here is walking back, get against the wall, and make sure that I don't get knocked back. It's the small stuff like that that really makes this game for me, because on the surface it looks so small, and just like walk up to a thing, point at a thing, and click it till the HP bar goes to 0 and anything drops. But there's just so much more to this. So this is another one of those positions. Bale is behind the corner, but I can hit him and he can't really hit me. And he can't hit me for any serious damage. So this is just a perfect position. And he dies. After that, I need to prepare for hell, so I go and find myself some Bartuks and a circlet. Basically what I'm doing here is just getting ready for hell, making sure my resists are in order, that I have more damage, that I have more HP. I also find a Lum rune, which is the godsend for resistances. I end up finding a rune bow as well, which is Mage Wrath. I've never tried this bow, so I figured why the hell not. And I'm using the Lum rune to make a smoke, because 50 resist all is such a massive boost to a resist. And with that we head into hell, where I start farming the pits, mostly for the experience. But you can also see how I deal with a dual resist here. But I do end up just being like, okay, this might be a bit much. I'm like level 55, 60, around there somewhere. And I'm cursed fanaticism in the pits, so I'm like, nah, maybe not. And I decide to head to Andariel instead, where I open the door and that happens. That is 4 boss packs behind the door. Basically the game was like, well, what's behind door number 1? It's death. But I do manage to kill everything. I miss picking up an ethereal sacred touch. I'm sure that one was ethereal. I'm sure it had 4 open sockets, and I'm sure it had 45 resist all, because that's how this works, because I forgot to pick it up. Anyway, we're just face tanking Andariel. Our resistances are very good. So I've gotten a lot of requests for this, and I am working on it. Just a basic guide of getting through the game. Like, how do you deal with normal? How do you deal with nightmare? How do you deal with hell? What do you need before getting into hell? What do you need before getting into nightmare? Where do you want your skills to be? How much attack rating do you need? I'm working on it. It's just a lot. I realized once I tried to put it into like a single video that I could not for the life of me get it in a 20-minute video. So I'm figuring out some stuff, maybe do a series, I don't know. But your requests have been heard. And here we have another cold and fire immune, cursed as well. So what I'm doing here is making sure my mercenary doesn't get interrupted while he's killing that, by pretending to keep those ghoul lords in there, or they kind of just floated by me. Once I find a Trangul's helmet, by the way, I'm gonna do a Ghoul Lord run as well. I'm only missing the helmet on both of my accounts now. It's so dumb. I have them on my Pluggy, but okay, this is the dumbest thing, but my Pluggy account is on a computer somewhere, and I don't know where the computer is. Like, I know where the account is on the computer. I just don't know where I put the computer. But once I find it, I can do like all sorts of cool NG plus runs and stuff. I can do randomizer, stuff like that. Anyway, our mercenary face tanking Duriel. And considering this is Duriel, even though he's taking a lot of damage, he's doing very well, despite the whole dying thing. I mean, a mercenary taking 2, 3, maybe even 4 hits from Duriel on hell in a solo self-found run is a success. Because all he's doing is that to trade your gold 4 times. So basically you're paying your mercenary to stall Duriel while you're shooting at him. And you're just trading gold 4 times. Which is a trade you should also make in real life. If you can trade all your money for time, you should do that. Because there's just always more to be made, but there's never more time. But yeah, Hazard doing an excellent job over there. Even though I'm force feeding him full rejuves like they're infinity and beyond in quantity. And I make a Duress because I had that rune left and my mercenary is just kind of wearing a rare. So I figured why not use the rune. This is the most dangerous part of the run so far. I mean, I'm cursed, they are faster than me. There is a well, and I'm like, okay, I might just keep on running, because at this point I have a town portal at the Flayer dungeon. Because I always do that, I'd make a town portal at the Flayer dungeon, then walk along to the lower Kuras and take the waypoint back towards the Flayer jungle, so I don't have to walk the jungle twice. But they are really on my tail here. And it ends up with me just running in and encountering another boss back and having to save and quit for the first time. But my first save and quit in Act 3 Hell is just amazing to me. You really get a different perspective of this game if you're playing like these really grindy characters that barely get through the game and then start playing a good one all of a sudden. It's like, yeah, this is awesome. Anyway, Gallop Flamefinger goes down for the Kalim's Flail. And we go ahead and try and get Torque to attack my mercenary, which he's having a really hard time of doing. But there he goes, and now it's a free kill, even though it will take a while. Also notice how I'm using normal arrows to kind of help along a bit. I'm not dealing a lot of damage, but it's definitely better than zero. And after that I lure out more of the council members. You can really tell the freezing arrow freeze here, it's so good. Even though the damage is a bit low, just look at that, they are just full on frozen. They do end up killing my mercenary and I end up just going forward. But it's so good, just infinite freeze stun lock is so powerful. I mean, look at this is just freebie. After the castle we make it downstairs towards the Turans of Hate, where once again freezing arrow just proving how much power it has behind it. I mean, this is some real board control here. And that's also kind of how I just see Diablo. Like, for instance, in fighting games you have a concept called screen control, where the more part of the screen you can't get attacked from and you dominate, it's your screen control. So by just putting them back behind that door, I keep control of 2/3 of the screen. I mean, like now, my experience shrine is safe because I can't get cursed or anything. There's nothing coming from the left and there's only one way they can attack me. So that's a big part of positioning a Bowazon. Stuff like that. It's the same concept I believe in chess, but I've never played chess. I've done a bunch of Stratego though, and it's there as well. Just kind of like, okay, this is my board, I need to control as much of it. Same here as well, I can only get attacked by Mephisto because I've cleared out the rest, which gives me like 75% of the screen is just mine to ignore and be mine and not have to worry about. And stuff like that is a really big part of just doing well in hardcore. Because for instance, if there were like 3 Bloodlords coming from the back, this would be a giant fucking mess. Let alone if the council came up here, like that would be such a train wreck. Instead, it's just all mine, it's quiet, and I can focus on Mephisto. Because it's not a free fight at all, so just making sure the back is safe is just good form. And you don't really need to do it in normal and nightmare, because those difficulties do have some forgiveness, but hell really doesn't. Imagine the council walking back up to me being like, well, we're fanaticism, and now Mephisto is fanaticism as well. Where's your mercenary? He gone. And where are you? Well, in a lot of trouble. And Mephisto goes down, drops us a unique soul stone, and after that I decide to farm some more because I'm not completely sure I can beat the game. And I end up finding a rare Shaco and making a hustle. And after that I go for Hephasto the Armorer. With the hustle I'm sure I'm dealing a lot more damage because the 60 IAS just makes me shoot a lot more. Because Diablo really isn't about the big numbers, it's about controlling the board, making sure you're in control of what's happening. I also find a Gall Rune from the Hellforge and then I head towards the Chaos Sanctuary, where I just work my way through the minions and find a rare ring, which has 29% lightning resistance on life, which is just good enough. And once again, against these Doom Knights, Frozen Arrow, Freezing Arrow, just showing its power. I mean, they're just there. And Lord Desai's being annoying with the dual resist, but it just doesn't matter. We're gonna corner him and then we're just gonna shoot him. But now he's cornered. I have full control of the screen again and just shoot him. And he's followed up by Diablo. Well, there's another minion of course, but that wasn't a very interesting fight. I just shot them. And for Diablo Hell, you can just stand next to him. It's the safest spot. Unless you're very good at dodging everything he throws at you. But if you're that good, you're probably good enough to stand next to him and kill him quicker. He does hit very hard though, as you can tell. And I'm kind of luring him out here a bit because I want him to be outside of the pentagram. Because it's just much easier to hit him. If he's in like a small choke point, it's so much harder to control what he's doing, where he's going. Instead, I want him out in the open that whatever he's doing, I can just counter it. And he drops me a unique Earth Spirit, which is a very rare item. It's a Spirit Keeper. And it's super rare. I already had one for my grill. Anyway, I end up farming once more in the nightmare zones, in the terror zones, because I'm still not certain I can deal with Act 5. And I end up finding a Kuko Shakuko, which is just the best bow for a run like this. You get +3 skills, you get explosive arrows. I also find a Tal Rasha's mask, which is the perfect mercenary weapon. And I find a Pole rune and a ring. And it's a manalt. 420, place it. And I use the Pole rune to finally upgrade my helmet with a Pal Ith Eld of Wisdom for some piercing attack and some cannot be frozen. So I head towards the Ancients in Hell, who I am once again just splitting up, or at least trying to. So we get Madog first. And you can really tell that if you just take them on one by one, it's quite easy to finish them off. I mean, at this point we have him surrounded. And even though he does run away at times, we do end up just getting him back here. But the other two do get here a bit too soon. I mean, Madog wasn't finished yet. So we have to split them up again. And you can tell how close he is. And I'm just happy to get the final few shots in and make him go away. Oh, also I just resetted them until I got a good spawn. So I don't want Curse. I don't want Fire Cold Immune. Stuff like that just gets like reset immediately. Might Aura, Fanaticism Aura. Just make a Town Portal. Screw that. Ain't doing it. And now we have Kolik on his own. And there's Talik. And just like the other two, just get him on his own and start shooting at him a bunch. Be careful about the whirlwind, but not much else can go wrong. Unless you let your mercenary die because you're getting pots. So now we're playing a very dangerous game of tag, because if he tags me, I'm dead. I mean, I might survive a hit, but I'm definitely not surviving like a full damage whirlwind to the face. Like, that's not a thing that's happening on 1100 HP. Just run away a bit, shoot at him a few times. And just keep doing that until he dies. But yeah, it would have definitely been better if I kept the mercenary alive. It would have been so much easier to kill him. But that's what you get for being greedy, getting pots and not paying attention. I end up running out of mana potions as well, which is definitely a problem. This build is super mana hungry. Because at this point, if I run out of mana completely, I can't kill Talik. So I need to be very careful here and start hitting him for real. All of this could have been avoided if I didn't lose my mercenary for a few mana pots. And just looking back on where did it go wrong and why am I in this situation is also just a very important skill to have. Not only in Diablo, just in life as well. Like, how did I end up here? What happened and how can I fix it? And he finally goes down. And we head towards Bale, where the Venom Lords are just no chance against my freezing arrow. I mean, look at this. This is just a freebie. It's such a good Bale runner, this character. Well, except for the whole killing Bale part, because Bale has a ton of resist for fire and ice. But the minions, oh man, she's so good into them. I mean, look at this. Look at that minion of destruction just being like, yup, I'm screwed. I mean, this is just absolutely brilliant how this is going. Just cold damage dominating them. Not a worry in the world as Lister and his friends go down. Which brings us to Bale again. And the one thing I do have to say about this character, she's not a good Bale killer. Bale just has a ton of fire resist, cold resist, mana burn, like the things you don't want to fight against with this character. And after a almost 20-minute fight, he does end up going down. But yeah, not a great boss killer. Well, Bale killer at least. She did fine into the other ones. And there you have it, Sander's boots, also End Guardian. So this is my gear, Kuko Shakuko, Wisdom, Hustle. This amulet I found as well, Natalia boots. This ring, this bell, just a bunch of rares. And a crafted. Oh, and I shopped for +3 bow and crossbow skills gloves. You can just do that like at most merchants. And these are my charms. The 15 resist Grand Charm really carried me through because it did so well for my resistances. And those are my stats. And here's my skill tree. But that's not all. People have been asking me to do cows, so when a build can do cows, I'll include some footage of it. And cows with this character is just spamming freezing arrow and running away mostly. And just hoping they don't catch up, because except for the champions and the unique cows, you can just full on freeze them. Which is so insane. Freezing arrow is such an incredibly powerful skill. And we end up at the Cow King for the final boss of this run. You can already see his dooming lightning coming closer. So there we have him, the Cow King. Da, 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 da. And as you can tell, this character just does perfectly fine into cows. It's a very viable cow runner. Not the fastest or anything, but it's very viable. That's just the whole way of describing this character. Not the fastest, not the greatest, not the most damaging, but very viable, and man, this build was fun. Thank you for watching, see you in the next one, bye bye.